Happy day, and happy day to you. It is great to be here and to share a few words. I would like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to these few words on courage. Now, you could be anywhere at this moment, so I don't take it lightly that you chose to be here right now. So thank you, thank you, thank you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Atiya K Jones, and I'm excited to talk to you about my new book, Change of Valor, Fearlessly Reclaiming My Me. Before I get into what the book is about, I want to first tell you how I came up on the name. The short of it is this: I was inspired by the universe. I kept being given signposts, and I read the signs and moved accordingly. When you look at the word valor, which is the heart of the title of this book, it means courage, value, or worth. And as you study its root, it means moral worth. Moral or morality deals with a certain kind of behavior. The word worth is used as a noun in this case and means value or merit. The word change means to alter or to become different. So when we look at the main title, Change of Valor, in essence, it applies to an alteration in behavior so as to increase one's value or merit. Now, the word value is often associated with men or refers to a manly quality. Usually when the word is associated with women, it is done so in the context of the Proverbs 31 woman, otherwise referred to as the virtuous woman. When I finished writing this book, the initial name that came to me was Valor of Change. But then one of my advisors, who is also a friend, asked me to consider shifting the words around. He said, "What about Change of Valor?" And so I had to think about that for a moment. I took it under consideration, and as I meditated on it for a couple of days, the universe kept sending me more signposts. The book by then was in the editing process, and I was still dealing with some residual emotions related to it. As I worked through some of those emotions, I knew that I needed to recenter, to get back to myself and fill my own cup up, especially after having given so much. So that is when reclaiming my me came about. And after a few days, I went back to my advisor and I shared that I loved his suggestion, but there was another part to it. So I wrote the title down. At that time, it was Change of Valor, Reclaiming My Me. But then over the next 24 hours, I had a conversation with a young woman. And as I was speaking with her, I said to her that she needed to be fearless in stepping out into purpose and stop making excuses because she's afraid. Yet as I was encouraging her, I realized that I was also talking to myself. My higher self was saying, "Look, Atiya, apply those words to yourself and stop tiptoeing around speaking your truth and being so caught up in what someone else is going to think about what you have to say. You need to make some adjustments in the book, but more importantly, you need to make adjustments within yourself." Man, that got me to thinking. I was like, wow. You need to ask yourself, what is the real issue here? And that's what the universe was telling me. That's what my higher self was telling me. And when I seriously confronted my own feelings, I had to confront the fact that I was somewhat afraid of not being viewed as a good person. I was being so cautious not to step on anyone's toes, and in the process, I was still suppressing my feelings. And me not wanting people to think that I was all up in my feelings, I was willing to compromise my own truth just to keep the peace. So when the young lady presented herself and I had a pep talk with her, that little voice inside of me chimed in and said, "Practice what you preach." So after my higher mind took my lower self to task, she won and I got the message. And I realized I have to be fearless in reclaiming my truth. So the name of the book was set, Change of Valor, Fearlessly Reclaiming My Me. You see, we can be courageous in many situations. We can be strong under all sorts of pressure and feel some semblance of worth or value in certain environments. Yet when it comes to dealing with the reality of things and confronting them straight on, it can feel like you are out of your element. I get it that sometimes you want everybody to be happy, and some of us do try very hard to make others happy, but making other people feel happy is not your job. It is a personal responsibility of the person who desires happiness in their own life. It is a personal choice. And no matter what you do, there are some people that you will never be able to make happy, no matter how much you try. I realized that I had gotten into the habit of trying to make everybody around me happy. I found myself giving and giving and giving until I was just totally exhausted. I was empty and wondering who was going to be there to fill up my cup. It was at that moment I realized the true meaning of the principle, what does it profit a person to gain the world but lose their own soul? There is nothing wrong with giving, and if it is your thing to give until it hurts, that too is a personal choice. However, if you give so much that you have nothing left over for yourself and then you become of no use, there's a problem within self that needs to be addressed. So the universe showed me that I had a habit that I needed to break, and it was my way of behaving that was no longer serving me well. And if I was to move to the next level in my development and in my life, it was time to address the issue so that I can remove the block. I was giving so much that when I finally realized what I was doing, I noticed takers lurking around my atmosphere. And while I was giving and giving and giving, they were steady taking and taking and taking. They were there sopping up everything I was giving. And then after that had the audacity to complain about it not being good enough. I knew at that point it was really time to make some changes. It was a very important lesson I had to learn, being a habitual giver. I needed to learn how to receive. When I looked in the mirror, I had to confront some real hard truths. I have been interacting with people based on their potential. There may be some of you listening who knows exactly what I'm talking about. You see the rosy, the best in people because you are looking through the lenses of potential rather than actuality, and you interact with people based on their potential rather than how they really are at a given moment. You wear rose-colored glasses because everything is prettier and because it makes things easier to swallow or cope with. If you don't see the ugly, you don't have to confront the ugly. Change of Valor, Fearlessly Reclaiming My Me, is about me taking off the rose-colored glasses and dealing with things and situations precisely for how they are. The book itself was born out of the Awakening and Healing Retreat held in Worthing, West Sussex in England, which was a creative child that I gave birth to in March 2019. The book was written within the following 3 weeks, along with the start of a couple more books. Initially, when I started to write, I intended it to be a few thousand-word ebook. Yet as I continued to flesh it out, I realized there was more I needed to express than originally thought. As I was writing, I was taken to various times in my life, and I noticed a pattern. The very writing of this book was one of the many hurdles that I needed to confront in terms of reclaiming my authentic truth. I realized that the book itself was a vehicle. The universe was using the retreat and the book as a tool for me to do some soul work and to learn how to effectively transmute energy and reoccurring patterns in my own life that was blocking my success and keeping me from expressing my authentic truth and being my best self. The Awakening and Healing Retreat brought to the surface many emotions that I didn't realize were bottled up inside of me. From the planning of it to the event itself, there were many situations I was forced to confront and emotions I had to rise above if I was going to succeed at pulling off the event. I learned many lessons along the way. I cried a lot, not because I was sad, but because I was frustrated about being in this space and frustrated that I didn't see it prior to then. Here I was helping others, but I was also helping myself. I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about others. Change of Valor, fearlessly reclaiming my me, is my story and a behind the scenes, so to speak, about what I went through in planning and hosting the Awakening and Healing Retreat. It's candid. It's painfully honest. It has some humor, although it is my sense of humor, which might sometimes tend to be a little dry. But the book is truly somewhat of a telltale. I expose certain things, and it is a very different book for me. I've never written a book like this before. In it, I unpack the hardships, the heartaches, the letdowns, the disappointments, the fear, and the many other isms that left me feeling worthless and chasing away thoughts running through my own mind of giving up. Yet I also reveal the steps that I took to overcome the struggles and move past the obstacles. In Change of Valor, fearlessly reclaiming my me, I confront deception and duplicity and challenge others to remove their rose-colored glasses. I challenge them to look at things how they really are and not how they want them to be, so that they can expose, confront, and overcome the issues in their lives with the aim of living their best life and with realness. So I encourage everyone listening to get the book. Find out how perseverance, faith, courage, loyalty, and love play out, and how you can use it as a catalyst to create your own inspiring and unforgettable story. Thank you so much for listening. With peace, love, and light, again, this is Dr. Atiya K. Jones. Thank you.